you hit on emergency fund. So when you're budgeting, how do you incorporate an emergency fund, and what do you consist? What consists of an emergency fund?
It depends. So for those that don't know what emergency fund is, it's that fund when you had that oh shit moment at the house. That's where that money comes from. When something goes bad that you did not expect. Now, if your car breaks down because you haven't been doing the maintenance, that's not really emergency fund. That's grow up and take care of your damn vehicles.
Yep.
But
if you can't afford to take it to a damn car shop, you better YouTube that shit.
Right. There's different schools of thoughts on how to use an emergency fund. Dave Ramsey, who, where I started when I learned, he recommends when you start what they call the baby steps, is you start with $1,000. Just put that aside, and that'll hold you while you get the rest of your financial life in order. But after that, most people recommend 3 to 6 months of your expenses. And then some people go as far as say 3 months of your pay, or 3 to 6 months, all the way up to a year. I've seen some people that retire early, they have like a 2-year emergency fund. And what you have to do when you sit down, either with your spouse or significant other, as a family or by yourself, whatever, if you're single, you think about what constitutes an emergency fund, an emergency. And
especially homeowners.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a homeowner, but you are. Yeah. I know there's a lot of expenses, so you can't call the fucking landlord for that you got to cover. So,
but see, and that's where it comes to planning, because you also want to have a fund, because you living in the house, stuff's not gonna stop working. Stuff's gonna break. There's gonna be holes, dents, stings, scratches. You got to plan for that. You got to have money in the budget. So every time something goes wrong, it shouldn't be an emergency.
Yeah.
At some point in time. I mean, everybody's in different places, but once you get to that point, it shouldn't always be an emergency when something goes wrong. Yeah. It should be, okay, we got this fund for this money. Now, when emergencies happen, things like you get into an accident, you weren't planning for that. You got to pay the deductible on your car, or a storm happens, or something crazy, some shit that you can't plan for, some shit that you had no clue that's coming. Christmas is not an emergency fund worthy event. Birthdays, kids' Jordans, baby pictures, trips, none of that counts as an emergency, unless it's something like you have a family emergency and you have to get home quick. So think about those things that you had no way of knowing anything close to it ever happening. And that's what you consider an emergency for your emergency fund.
And it's important. It's important to have. I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell the story after you finish, bro. Go ahead.
Sure, please do. And you want to make sure that it's not easy to get to. Make sure that it's in a separate account from your main money, and you have to go somewhere different, because if it's easy to get to, you're gonna spend it. I don't care how disciplined you are, you will spend it. So you said you had a story. What's up?
Yeah. So as far as emergency funds and things like that, it's important, especially because certain things pop up and you never freaking know what I'm saying, what's going to happen. Prime example, when our granddaddy passed away, and I was just like, damn, we got to get up there. But it was short notice. I didn't have no emergency fund then. So I'm scrambling. I'm taking out fucking loans and all types of shit just to get up there. You know what I'm saying? But if I already had that budget in place, that emergency fund in place, I would have been like, all right, damn, granddaddy passed away. That's one thing that's stressful, but adding the second stress is how you going to have the money to get where you going to get to. You know what I'm saying? So that added 2 big ass boulders on my back. But if I would have had that emergency fund in place already, I would have been like, damn, granddad passed. We got to get up there. Let's go ahead and dip into the emergency fund. We'll put it back after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Which I learned my lesson, because with dad, I was ready.
Yeah.
Not that I was ready for him, because that shit was so fucking unexpected.
Yeah, man.
Out financially, I was ready. I made those moves at the drop of a fucking dime. Yeah. So the budget and the emergency fund, man, that shit is fucking important. I know a lot of y'all probably watch this and y'all like, oh, these motherfuckers is boring. But hey, listen to this shit, man. This is some real shit going on with this budget and shit. Because if you do it, I guarantee in about 6 months, and I'm living proof of that shit, in about 6 months, you're gonna see a difference in your pockets. It's gonna be straight.
Yeah.
You could buy the big bottle of Hennessy in, bro. You can buy a big bottle.
No, still not buying the big bottle of Hennessy.